So what happened, for example, if we want to have multiple value in terms of colon, so this is where array comes in. So now if you pay close attention, we are building a customer segmentations. We rely on array. That's the region, that's the tier, this is the table. And you can see that information come here. I can click on it if I want to see the information. You can clearly see it is also a key value. It's not really, you get the point, right? So the second, there are cases where you might need to rely on map in the context of representation. And for such cases, this is where map is ideal. So therefore, you can see here, this is the region. We map it to the region. That's here. We map it to here. If we click here, you may notice that we get the key value pair. Perfect. Here's the thing. What happens if you want to show the hierarchy, how the data, the flow of the data. So this is where, again, those functions comes into the picture. So not only that, we can nest them together. So what we're going to do is to create a temp table, okay? And then have these classification where we classify customer name by region and tier. And on top of that, we classify that entire information under the customer ID. So now we have this table. This is a temp table. We can query that table. So if you're looking at the segmentations, was classifications, this is the customer. So as you can see, that's the customer. Perfect. So now this is the customer name. But we require the classifications. So this is the classifications. On the classification, we can filter based on region and tier. Here we are doing it based on region. You can see now we were able to get that data. In your case, if you're dealing with very complicated nested JSON array, that's how easy, for example, Spark SQL make it in order to query this. And same thing regarding array, we're creating a temporary table, store that customer segmentation. We can go and query that. Not only that, if we want, we can filter based on that. So we're using array content. This is gold. And also we can only filter for a given segmentation. So if you're looking at here, we were able to only get silver. And of course, under our workflows, we have this one. But what only brings silver is this guy. Okay, because here you can see it was kind of the same workloads, but here we have gold, but we have not ace. And here, because of this guy, we only retrieve the information that related to silver. Perfect. Same. So now we have that information. We can explore. We can rely on Explorer to turn that data into a format that is more readable to us. Perfect. The other things is the hint. I won't have time to spend too much here, but I add a couple here. Feel free to download the notebook and play them with them, because if you come from SQL, you might be wondering how to maintain performance optimizations while creating your Spark SQL script. Let's understand a basic one. By default, in Fabric, the Spark is auto broadcast. So therefore, consider if you need to understand the query plan, the physical plan, you can rely on what we call this explain formatted. Here I disable the auto broadcast. You can see this is the physical plan right here. So we have an adaptive Spark plan, that's 13. You can see we have sort, to kind of sorting, and we have a scan. However, in here, we rely on broadcast, and we broadcast on the table C. The table C is the team customer. You can see now the scan is number 5, the filter is number 6, and we also have a broadcast hash join. Okay, if you're looking at here, the scan is 5, the filter is 6. We have sorting, we don't have that. The adaptive is 13 and 12, 11 for hash aggregate. And here we have a better plan. But here's the thing. And there are cases where we might need to enable those, but paid, some of them could be enabled by default based on the version you are using. Okay. And in here is that this is kind of the same. We just enable this. What I'm doing here is that this is for skew join. Okay. I just want to handle how the data skew being migrated, right? So this is very, very, very important. And then what else we can talk, because we have time, if the data is not partitions, where partition can be performance issue, you can force repartition while you're querying that data. So to force repartition, this is 7. We're doing it on customer ID. That's how we can get it done. And same thing, we can have a repartition range if we want to. Here we're doing it on tier, as you can see, and we can rely on merge. So for merge, we want that to be done on T-table. So this is T-table, okay? And we can even flush hash if we want to. Here we rely on C-table, and this is our customer. I know I could be, over time, but I hope, for example, this was very valuable to you. It was a pleasure. If you have a question, feel free to either comment on that video or, for example, reach out to me. I'll be happy to stay in touch with you. Thank you. Bye-bye.